Hi, I'm Pam Valcanti, and today I'm going to show you a continuous line drawing and how that works. I'm going to use a leaf that I picked, and it is fairly simple shape. It's like a pear or a droplet. It has a center vein called the midvein or midrib, and then many lateral and secondary and lateral veins, along with some winter damage done to it, which I find interesting in a leaf. I'm going to do a continuous line drawing through observation, and if you want, you can start out with just sketching in the basic shape to get you started. And you'll notice on the right side, because of the damage from frost, this leaf, the bottom right side is a little bit lower, and I've attached the stem to that leaf, um, and the midrib, just to kind of get an idea of placement of those things. Um, for my demonstration, I am not going to pre-draw it with a pencil. I'm going to use a number 3 ink pen, and it's archival, waterproof, and I'm just going to start drawing. Now, continuous line drawing begins at some point, and I'm actually beginning at the lower right area and going up the side. A continuous line drawing does not allow me to pick up my pen at all to go to a different spot. I need to continually draw, which means that I will be going back over some lines to get to other places and may not be as accurately drawing this leaf as I would otherwise if I could pick up my pen. And sometimes it's a little halting um, because I've got to figure out where I'm going next. So right now I'm kind of getting some of the main damage um, drawn in here, and you can start to see that I kind of go back over some of the lines to get to other places. And that's what I'm doing right here a little bit. And I'm drawing the dark areas as well as where those light areas come in. They just add visual interest. And now I'm kind of stuck, so I'm going back over, putting a little edge on that one hole in the leaf, and putting some veins in now, some lateral veins, um, going up the left side of the leaf and coming to kind of redraw some of that side, and then coming down a little bit on the midrib to get to the next vein. And you can see I'm going back up the same lines to get more veins in there on that left side. And some of the time I'm covering my initial line, and some of the time I'm making that a little bit thicker, again, for visual interest. I might have picked up my pen real quick right there. Didn't mean to do that. It is a practice, an exercise. I did that right there again, too. For training your brain to actually see what you are looking at rather than knowing what you are looking at. Our brain has a tendency to tell us that we know this is a leaf and it is a kind of a pear-shaped leaf. We know what a pear looks like. Um, it's got a hole in it. It's got a mid vein. It's got lateral veins, secondary veins. And they go up from the mid vein, and we know all of that intellectually. But that has a tendency to keep us from really observing and seeing what we are looking at. And so by doing this continuous line drawing exercise, we have to slow down and take the time to actually see what we are drawing. And that means it's not going to be perfect when you cannot pick up your pen. However, it's going to look like a leaf, and it's your interpretation of what you are seeing. And quite honestly, I believe that it is much more interesting to look at this continuous line drawing than it is if I had picked up my pen many, many times to put a line in where my brain might have taken over and said, well, these are veins, and I'm just going to put them in like diagonal lines. Here I'm actually adding on the right side a little extra line to add to that bottom part. Now, as you can see here, I've also done a line drawing, more or less using my brain and picking up my pen. And you can see the difference. On the right side is a contour line drawing, just, basically the outline, and then some of the main parts on the inside of the leaf, such as the damaged area and the veins. But it's not as interesting. So, if you are interested in training your brain to see what you are looking at rather than knowing as you are drawing, try this continuous line drawing practice.